It's been 19 hours.
Huntsman, how far to Norwich?
Not far now.
We've landed at Norwich Airport. Our flight time from Munich has been 1¼ hours and local time is 8 o'clock. Weather conditions here are very good. I hope you've enjoyed your flight, and on behalf of Captain Williams and his crew, I'd like to wish you a pleasant stay in Norwich. Thank you.
Very good morning to you. Welcome back to the breakfast show. It's 9 o'clock this bright sunny morning. They tell me it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and what's more, I can tell you it looks like it's going to get warmer. So if you want to think of something to do on this bright sunny day, somebody suggested it might be a nice idea to go down to the yacht station and take a boat out on the Broads, or of course there's all that coastline around Norfolk. Why not head to the coast and laze on the beach all day? But let me tell you, later on at around about 12 o'clock, we shall be talking to Rachel Young, a historian, about Norwich, new and old, and finding out a little bit more about our city. And don't forget that this evening at 6 o'clock, the Lord Mayor's procession kicks off here in our fine city. And if you want to find out more...
Morning. Morning, Andy. How you doing? Come on, Jim. It's going to be a nice day. Make a change on it. £2 for 30 pair, eh, Alok? Come on. £2 for 30. Hey, Alok, the last bag. Who want them? The lot. 30. 50 bag.
Well, as I promised earlier, we have with us today Rachel Young. So, Rachel, perhaps you start by telling us why Norwich was so important in the past.
Well, in the late 17th century, it was, in fact, the second largest city in England. And this was because it had three functions in one. It was an industrial town, it was the market centre for a very rich farming district, but it was also a thriving port. The river brought riches, but the river also brought danger, and this was why, when the walls were built, two boom towers were erected just where the river entered the city, with a great chain between them, so that hostile boats could be stopped.
So how old are the walls, in fact?
They were finished in 1334. It took more than 30 years to build these 2¼ miles of wall, which enclose a square mile of city, which is larger than the City of London or indeed of any other British city. By the end of the 18th century, the gates were all removed because they were causing traffic jams. But now what remains is very carefully preserved by the City Council.
How interested is the council in preserving old Norwich?
It does a great deal of work discovering and restoring ancient buildings and putting them to good use. Imagine you can lunch now in a 13th century vaulted cellar. This is one of many such in the city, found under modern shops and in other very unlikely places.
Rachel, what's the biggest restoration project underway at the moment?
Undoubtedly the old Barge Inn in King Street, which is a magnificent 15th century hall with carved dragons in the spandrels of the roof.
Well, isn't Norwich renowned for its many old churches?
Yes, indeed, and some have fallen into ruin. But St. Julian's Church, which was blitzed in the war, is one, amongst others, that has been restored. It is now a shrine to Mother Julian, who is regarded as a saint. Although Mother Julian lived through terrible times, including the Black Death and the Peasants' Revolt, her message is one of hope and joy.
oak, but with one green leaf on it would have answered her. My very visor began to assume life and scold with her. She speaks poignards, every word stabs. If her breath were as terrible as her termination, well... Oh, look, here she comes. Will your grace command me any service now to the world's end?
And tonight here we have people here from all over the world. This is a very special occasion, an occasion when Britain's premier theatre, in fact Europe's premier theatre, brings to you by courtesy of John Michael Tebbelet, the American author of Godspell, and in fact the director of our production. Yes, Britain's premier theatre, Europe's premier theatre, brings you a production of Godspell tonight prior to its provincial tour and prior to opening in London.
Take the ratchet off. Someone just put the brake on as well to keep it checked. And ease her off until I say.
Yes, this is a winner so far.
Good night. Good night.
So we are on the boatyard down the road. It's green. As you kiss the screen, sort of, you can see. Wow.
Can I have another drink, my dear, please? Lovely.
Get out of the way, Colin, I'm going to get drowned.